Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new year 2021. And we are today discussing about emotional health. And to talk on the same, we have Miss Chelna from Emo Aid, where she will be talking to us about emotional health, how we can take care of our emotions, recognize them, and how just by, an holistic approach towards emotional health can help us in maintaining good mental health and physical health. So, hi, Chelna, how are you?
Hello, Seema. I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So,
Okay.
it'll be great if you can introduce yourself to the speakers as well about your background, where you've been working.
Sure. So, hello, everybody. And first of all, wish you all a very happy new year. My name is Chelna Karnavat, as you already know, and I am working as an emotional well-being facilitator with Emo Aid, and I'm also working as a psychologist with CCAW. That stands for Center for Child and Adolescent Well-being. So
Right.
that would be about me.
So that's great. And, as you said, not many people recognize the importance of emotional health. And that's why, it's good.
Mhm.
We are starting this year with that note, knowing about our emotions and how, taking care of them
Correct.
can be beneficial for us in the coming year and even after that. So thank you so much for coming
Correct.
on board. And, to
Absolutely.
begin with, it's very, I think, so important to recognize and even understand what emotional health means. So, can you share with
Correct.
us for somebody who might find it confusing about emotional health? How would you explain it to them?
Sure, absolutely. So, I think mental health is a concept that is used more widely than emotional health. And what I'd like to say is that emotional health is simply a facet of mental health. And emotional health refers to basically the awareness of our own emotions and even to our ability to actually accept them, to acknowledge them, to express them, and to manage these emotions effectively. Right. So, if you think about it, throughout the 24 hours in a day, you go through a wide range of emotions, right?
Yeah,
You could be happy, you could be sad, you could be irritated, you could be angry, and a whole other emotions. But how often is it that you take a pause and you reflect, okay, this is what I am feeling right now, right? Very rarely is it that we
right.
actually acknowledge our emotions or even accept them, right? And even when you are experiencing a negative emotion, then what you need to do is you need to use certain skills to work on them. So, for example, let's say that you realize that today you've been really stressed out, right? Some things have happened in the morning and you're feeling very stressed out today. Once you acknowledge that and once you accept that, okay, I am feeling stressed right now, using certain skills to work on that emotion will also determine if you are emotionally healthy, so to say, right?
Yeah,
And you could use certain breathing techniques, for example. Others also use physical exercise to relieve themselves of that stress, or some people might just choose to sit with their emotions, and
yeah.
really work out those negative thought patterns or challenge those negative thought patterns. But either way, I think what's absolutely important to remember is being emotionally healthy does not mean that you're going to be happy all the time, right? Does
True.
not mean that you're not going
Yeah.
to experience negative emotions at all, but rather it just means that you are aware of your emotions and you choose to work on those negative emotions.
That's so
So
true,
that was a
as you
little bit
said.
about emotional health.
Yeah, and a lot of time people, confuse it with being happy all the time, and that's a very positive thing that you have told here. That it's also important to
Yes,
recognize the negative emotions and understanding them and acknowledging
correct,
them. That's true. Another thing regarding,
right.
emotions that, strikes into my head, and even other people might have a similar connotation, is that how are our emotions linked to our mental health and physical health? Is there a connection, if any? And what is the connection? How does it affect our altogether the health, overall health?
Absolutely. Yes, right. So, Seema, like I said previously, emotional health is a facet of mental health. Mental health
Right.
is a broader framework, and it
Yeah.
refers to the cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being of a person. So naturally, your emotional health will have a direct impact on your mental health. Besides, there have been so many studies which says excess stress actually, makes you really vulnerable to a whole host of physical illnesses. What it
Right.
does is it affects your immune system functioning, and that's what makes you vulnerable to getting many more diseases,
Right.
right? In fact, a very recent study conducted in just 2020 mentions that constant stress and anger and fear and anxiety can actually lead to people having mental breakdowns, can cause sleep disturbances. It can really disturb your hormonal cycle as well. And
Yeah.
it can really, affect your efficiency at work too. All of these are the effects of not working on your emotions. And if you let them build up to the point where you just burst out,
Yeah.
right? And honestly, if you think about it, you yourself can reflect, basically think back to the time when you felt really anxious, or when you felt very angry, and
Yeah.
now think about how you were able to function then, right? Think cognitively. Were you really able to focus on your work?
Right.
Maybe think socially. Think about the way that you interacted with those around you, right? How did you behave with them? So, one by one, just like dominoes, it's going to
Yeah.
affect all aspects of your life, all areas of your life. And so these are the effects of, basically, not great emotional health on your physical or mental health.
Yeah.
However, to point out what the benefits of being emotionally healthy would be on your physical or mental health, would then be it helps you to build resistance against stress, right?
Right.
And once you know, or once you are equipped with how to manage your emotions that you face on a regular basis, you will notice that you're able to understand people better, you're able to connect with them better, you're able to show more empathy, more compassion towards them
Yeah.
rather.
Yeah.
And it really helps you to hold better arguments as well in your
Yeah.
relationships. And finally, it also affects your self esteem. Your thoughts and your feelings affect the way that you feel about yourself. And if you feel
Mm.
equipped to deal with the situations that you encounter in life, it's
Yeah.
going to increase your self esteem as well.
That's
So
so
that's
true.
what the effects would be then.
That's so true, and I can, greatly relate with that. There was a period when I was immensely sad, and as you said, it just didn't affect my mental health. It also affected my physical health plus my social health in a way, because I wasn't, meeting people. If yeah, I wasn't meeting
Correct.
people, and in terms of physical health, I there was a period I was feeling, slightly feverish, or even having hair fall for that
Yes.
matter, if that counts under physical health, I think. And yeah, mentally, of course,
Absolutely. Yes.
in
Yes.
terms of
Yes.
self-esteem, there were a lot of chaos. And I'm glad you could
Mm-hmm.
share about how emotions have such a huge connect in our day-to-day life, and not just in terms of health, but also a social, in social aspects. So that's definitely something
Right.
new I learned from you. And yeah, moving forward from that, uh,
Right.
is there a way we can recognize our healthy and unhealthy emotions? Or, is there a thing as unhealthy emotions or healthy emotions for that matter?
Yes. So, yes, you do have healthy and you do have unhealthy emotions. You're absolutely right. And one very simple way of recognizing your healthy from your unhealthy emotions would then be just the ease that you feel, right? So, for example, if you don't feel at ease, or if you're really uncomfortable, right, then you
Yeah.
could say, okay, this is something unhealthy. Because unhealthy emotions, what they do is they don't allow you to focus. They basically stop you from doing what you're doing. So even if you just feel something in your body, it doesn't have to be an ache or a pain. It could just be a sensation that is the source of this discomfort. You could say, okay, this is an unhealthy emotion. Whereas healthy emotions, what they do is they they basically allow you to focus on your work. They instill positivity in you, and they actually drive you towards your goal,
Yeah.
right? Like a challenge that you take on, basically. I think to further explain this, I could give you an example. So eustress and de-stress, right? So probably all of you are aware of this concept of eustress and de-stress, where which says that a certain level of stress is actually required for us
Yeah.
to motivate ourselves or feel motivated and encouraged to actually take on that challenge.
Yeah.
It's like a challenge that you want to take on, like I
Yeah.
said, actually. Whereas if it gets uncomfortable,
Hmm.
right, if it stops you or it hinders your ability of functioning normally, then you know, okay, this is
Yeah.
an unhealthy emotion. And usually unhealthy emotions are your negative emotions, such as anger and irritation or sadness and guilt, very strong emotion, shame as well, right? So that is one easy way of recognizing the healthy from the unhealthy emotions. Just take a pause and reflect. Okay, how am I feeling right now? And try and connect with your emotions. Where in the body are you feeling that,
Yeah.
right? And that's how you'll probably know if this is healthy or unhealthy.
That's so true. And again, as you said, that certain distinguishing between the unhealthy and healthy emotion can lead you long way. With the example of you stress, I think so. Sometimes a lot of people, especially
Mm-hmm.
like I remember this happening to me when I was a student, and I used to be confused in terms of whether I'm stressing about it or is it a good stress, because I'm kind of pushing myself
Hmm.
towards working harder
Right.
and yeah, scoring better and stuff like that. But I'm glad you could share about you stress and stress, so distress, so that people can
Absolutely.
now be more cognizant about the fact that some stress is good. Because sometimes we just
Yes.
go very negative around it, isn't
A
it? Like
certain
everybody thinks
level.
like, oh, you're
Yes.
stressing, it's not going to help and all. But that little bit of push, that nudge is, I think, so important, as you said. And again,
True.
when we come to you, as you said, you're working for emo aid. Now the term emo aid, I think so, pretty much means
Right.
emotional first aid. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and how people can seek help from you and
Absolutely.
professionals?
Sure, sure. I'd be delighted to. I'd be very happy to. So, I think, Seema, to answer this question, I'd like to use an analogy. So, let's say whenever you hurt yourself, okay, when you fall down, when you get a cut on your finger, you hurt your elbow, you get some scratches. The first thing we do is we open our first aid box and we use
Yeah.
a band aid, or we apply some Dettol and clean our wound, and we use sulframacin,
Yeah.
etc. Right? So that is quite sorted. When you get hurt physically, you use your first aid box.
Yeah.
However, what about emotionally? When you hurt yourself emotionally, when you experience anger or irritation or stress, or you're really worried, and a
Yeah.
whole host of other emotions, there's nobody who's actually taught us, okay, this is what you need to do. And emoaid is trying to fill that gap, basically. So with emoaid, what you can do is you can create your very own emotional first aid kit. You're very right, that's what it stands for. Emoaid does stand for emotional first aid. And the way it's structured is that we have 5 sessions. It's an online course, and one session every week. And we teach you a whole host of techniques. Actually, we teach you close to 15 to 20 techniques within this period of almost 1.5 months. And
Yeah.
we equip you to handle your own emotions, right? So we want to make you self-reliant and independent when it comes to all the emotions that you experience on a regular basis,
Yeah.
right? Because once you learn them, you can use them for an entire lifetime. And these
Wow.
techniques that I was telling you, all of these are very easy to learn, very simple techniques, but all of them are very scientific in nature. Each of
Yeah.
them have been taken from different therapeutic, approaches, and we've compiled them all together. but we've also ensured that they won't take you very long. You'd probably have to remove about 5 to 10 minutes every day, and that's how long it'll take you. And then yes, and many times, you experience, let's say, a feeling of rejection, or you feel lonely, or
Yeah.
you start overthinking a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
And people really address you, like people advise you, and they say, it's time to move on, or it's okay, let's just let
Mm.
it go and you'll feel better. But the thing is,
Mm.
nobody ever tells us how is it that you let go, how is it that you move on.
Yeah.
And emo aid addresses these hows. It teaches you, or it shows you how you can let go, or how you can move on, or how is it that you can increase the experience of positive emotions. How is it that you can work with your negative emotions? So that's what emo aid does.
Wow, that's a beautiful initiative and one of its kind. And I wish you and your team all the best and lots of success with it. Because, firstly,
Thank you very much.
welcome.
Of
And
course.
it hasn't been addressed in our country, has it been? And let's be honest, the kind of upbringing, at least millennials
Mm.
and boomers and even generations before us have had, it's mostly about ignoring emotions rather than addressing them and working with them. So I'm glad there is
Correct.
somebody working to bring a change, such a beautiful change. And of course, I'm sure that,
Me too.
I'm
Thank
sure
you,
the
Seema.
help that you're providing with to people would be, helping them for a longer run, which is, I think, so my favorite feature about emo aid, because things will keep on,
Thank you. And
yeah, because challenges will keep on coming and going, right? And once you have learned how to deal
correct.
with them, you are kind of prepared better for the future. Of course, it's not gonna remove all the problems from your life, but at least you would know how to deal with
Absolutely. And just to add to that, what I'd like to say is all of you guys can, learn more about Emo 8 through our website, emo8.in, or you can also check out our Instagram or Facebook page, which is
them.
again emo8.in.
Yeah, that's great. And in the description as well, the details would be provided, guys. So if you want to look up, please look up into the detail description and connect with Emo 8. Now, it's great to
Thank
know
you.
about Emo 8, but in this short webinar that we have right now, what would you like to share with our viewers in terms of good and effective tips and tricks in terms of managing their emotions? I think so a lot of
Uh-huh.
people can benefit from that.
Absolutely. I think let's begin this new year with, such a resolution to have a great emotional health.
Yeah.
And simple tips for that, I'd definitely love to share them. But one thing that I'd like to say before that is, emotional health is not a goal. Rather, it's a process. Just like being physically fit, right? You don't just reach a goal and then the next day you start eating unhealthy food again, or you stop exercising again,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
You actually constantly work towards it. So it's the same with emotional health. And to begin, what you can do is one thing that I would say, and which I have been saying throughout this webinar, is remove some time, make some time, 5 to 10 minutes in a day, where you just think and reflect on your day about the emotions that you've experienced throughout your day, right? Acknowledge them and accept them,
Hmm.
right? If you are experiencing guilt or anger, so just say to yourself, okay, I was angry or I felt anger, and it's okay to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
And the next tip that I would like to give then would be to build on your coping skills, to manage these emotions effectively, to build several coping skills. Like I mentioned before, it could be just in the form of certain breathing techniques that could help you. Whereas some people also choose to sit with their emotions and to reflect on their negative thought patterns and to challenge them. And
Hmm.
there are still others who use physical exercise to work with their emotions as well. So emoaid actually addresses all three of these, and several more actually, and just to build on these coping skills. And finally, one last thing I'd like to say is acknowledge yourself for all the little efforts that you do or that you take. Acknowledge yourself, appreciate yourself, right? I understand that not many of us are comfortable doing that because we've been raised in such a way where we keep hearing ki haan khud ki tareef nahi karte, or don't toot your own horn, right? But
Mm-hmm.
just acknowledging the little things that you did, it really does go a long way, right? It makes you feel more positive, and it instills that positive outlook or that confidence within you. So that is absolutely important as well. Even if you just acknowledge yourself at the end of the day for one thing that you did, it could be very small. It could just be that you took the initiative to talk to a neighbor today, or you actually found time to help your parents today. So it could be something as tiny as that as well, right? But just acknowledging yourself as well will go a long way. And to end, Seema, what I'd like to say, or what I'd like to emphasize once again, is that being emotionally healthy does not mean that you're going to be happy all the time, right?
Yeah.
But rather, it's about having the skills and being equipped to manage the ups and downs that you will experience in life. It's all about that.
That's a beautiful note. And again, reiterating the fact that, it's not about being happy all the time or feeling glee all the time. Yeah. And just,
Yes.
I think so for me, it's pretty much being comfortable in your own skin. And when, if there are challenges
Correct.
that, you are burdened by challenges, then they don't kill the vibe that makes you as a person, rather than you use those skills and still
Yes.
remain intact in your personality. So yeah, that's beautiful, and I'm glad
Absolutely.
we begin the year with such a beautiful note, talking about our emotional health. We all feel emotions, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
something that everybody can relate with. I can't count one person who would say that, "Oh, I don't feel
Yes.
emotions." So I hope it reaches people as far and beyond, and people find it helpful. Again, the tips and tricks that you share with us, they are great. And again, viewers, if you want to seek personal help, emo aid
Thank
is
you.
available. They are doing a great job, and would be happy to help you there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not something that people should seek
Yes,
only if they
absolutely.
are suffering from mental illness or severe mental health issues. You
Yes,
can just
correct.
go for a chat and learn a lot about yourself.
Very true. Just like you don't actually make a first aid box only when you hurt yourself, but you have it prepared just in case you fall down. So,
Yeah.
similarly, for this, emo aid is literally for anyone and everyone to be equipped with techniques, simple techniques, so that you can manage your emotions and you don't let them empower you, or rather, overpower you. Not empower, but overpower you.
Wow. Yeah. And again, all the best with your initiative. I hope you all the best with
Thank you
it.
so much, Seema.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, viewers, for joining us and watching this video. And if you have any comments, anything to ask
Thank you.
the viewer, or anything to say, please drop it in the comment section. We would be happy to address it. And thank you so much for joining. Again, a happy new year to everybody. Bye bye.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Please like, share, and subscribe to MHT channel. It'll be very sweet of you. Thank you. Bye bye.